Bismillah.
The needful creed.
Jinn, beings of fire. The word jinn comes from jan, meaning to hide or conceal. They see us, yet they're hidden from view. There's even a chapter in the Quran entitled The Jinn, so their existence is only denied by a deviant few. Allah created jinns from a smokeless fire, as sentient beings invisible to the human eye. Intelligent and with free will like us, jinns live on earth in tribes, eat, marry, and die. Jinns even have sects amongst them. In fact, Ibn Kathir reported of jinn who are Rafida Shia. They have believers amongst them too, but it is the devils amongst them that cause panic or fear. Jinns are technologically advanced and lived on earth 2,000 years before mankind, but caused harm. Angels pushed them to desolate areas, so now they coexist in a cloaked parallel life in relative calm. Some jinns can shapeshift into animals, while some crawl on their bellies or fly. Others can appear as humanoids, shadowy dogs, cats, or snakes that slither by. Numerous legends exist of humanoid creatures who transform into animal forms in horror and alarm. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "If you see a ghilan shapeshift before you, banish them by calling the adhan." Devils cause nightmares and sleep paralysis, appearing as night terrors, hags, or ghostly glows. Jinns explain supernatural mysteries like sprites and ghouls, aliens, and many UFOs. Jinns hang about in graveyards, dumps, deserted ruins, and desolate open spaces. Other haunts include filthy toilets, and they lurk in between sunny and shady places. Wish-granting jinns in fairy tales like Aladdin's genie and Narnia's witch are just yarns, but children should stay in after dusk to avoid jinns that wander about and their harms. He also said to seek refuge in Allah when a dog barks or a donkey brays, for a jinn they've seen, just as bats see by radar, or bees UV rays, roosters crow on seeing angels. It's all in the unseen. Before sleeping, say Bismillah over drinking vessels, lock doors, and put out lamps as a rule, for Satan cannot overcome a thing blessed by Allah, so it's easy to humiliate these ghouls. Islam is the final religion or deen that Allah perfected and sent Muhammad, peace be upon him, even to the jinn. When a group of them honed in on the Quran, they embraced it, unlike Satan, who carried on in sin. We shouldn't underestimate the enmity of the most evil jinn, whose hatred upon humans is directed, formerly as Azil. For refusing to bow to Adam, peace be upon him, Allah cursed him as Satan or Iblis, the rejected. Shaitan, the jinn, used to hang out with heaven's angels before his disbelief and deceit. He isn't a fallen angel, but sinful pride turned him into a horned demon, ugly and effete. His reprieve of life until the last day puffs him up with pride, and we should know our enemy's harm. Satan has vowed to corrupt man by lewdness, self-harm, mutilation, and turn people against Islam. Satan's throne exists on the sea, from where he sends out his devil troops to cause strife. Demons whisper evil lies, causing shirk, wars, and separation between a man and his wife. Shaitan hates the children of Adam and spitefully pricks all newborn babies, making them cry. He always calls to shirk and even tries deceiving us by near-death experiences before we die. Shayateen fly into space, trying to listen to angels receiving Allah's decrees, but angels hurl fiery meteor missiles at them, stopping their spying with ease. A Qareen jinn accompanies every person in life, whispering evil thoughts to turn us bad, but we are also surrounded by angels, and knowing that comforts us and makes us feel glad. Even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had a Qareen, but it only spoke good, as his jinn was subdued. Believers are warned to reject devilish whispers that call to shirk, sin, and all things lewd. The jinn that stays with us and knows our life intimately might live on after we die. Souls of the dead don't come back as ghosts, but mystics exploit the Qareen's lies. Ghosts are not the lost souls of the dead, but jinn impersonators imitating those who passed away. A dead person's soul is unable to cross the barrier back into life until resurrection on the last day. Some fools make deals with devils for gain, like the voodoo shaman or evil witch. Muslims are forbidden from evil magic, and Iblis loves leading sinners to hell's ditch. Malevolent demons sometimes enter and possess humans unlawfully out of revenge or hate. They are exorcised by the Quran, which they hate listening to. For example, Ayat al-Kursi is really great. Satan also hates and runs away quickly when he hears the call to prayer or adhan. Devils also detest Surah Baqarah and flee from the last 2 chapters of the Quran. Muslims use their right hands to eat with and their left hands when visiting the loo. Satan eats bones and dung with his left hand and hobbles around wearing only one shoe. When we enter our homes or eat, we say Bismillah, blessing our actions in Allah's name. This prevents evil jinns from partaking in our food and houses, thus causing their shame. Married couples should also seek refuge against devils when having sex and for their offspring. For unlike angels who are extremely shy, demons are shameless and open depravity they bring. In some cases, jinn possess or hover near humans whom they fancy, sexually exploit and harm. They may be exorcised and removed, for such jinn-human relationships are forbidden in Islam. Evil shayateen physically affect humans, causing twitches, spasms, and even prolonged bleeding. The Prophet, peace be upon him, recommended us to bear their harms patiently or recite the Quran as a healing. Prophet Solomon, or Suleiman, peace be upon him, controlled slave jinns to build his kingdom and had jinns in his army troops. On hearing the Quran, some converted to Islam after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, guided their groups. Suleiman's jinns were punished by fire if they disobeyed. They dived in seas and dug for metal ore. His jinn workers constructed Baytul Maqdis, made weapons and huge brass pots to feed the poor. An Ifrit jinn materialized Queen Bilqis's throne in a blink. Others made the floor look like a lake. Some wrongly blame angels Harut and Marut for teaching magic in Babylon, yet it was evil devil fakes. To this day, based on Ahsaf, Jewish Kabbalic texts, jinn-inspired magic is used by evil men for gain. But Allah has made black magic forbidden, being Satan's deception, which only leads to hell and pain. Some even sacrifice animals for their sake. Yet shirk or polytheism is the biggest sin leading to hell. But sadly, even Muslims commit shirk by their fear of jinn, relying on amulets, charms and spells. Once, an Ifrit disturbed Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, prayer with fire, was caught and to a pillar pinned. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, kindly released him, recalling how Suleiman relinquished human control over jinn. Interestingly, as the shaitan was being choked by the Prophet, peace be upon him, its cold saliva was felt by his hand. So they are not just fiery plasma, proving that devils will suffer pain in the fire of hell as Allah planned. As a proof that jinns don't know the future, Suleiman oversaw jinns digging metal resting on his cane. Not until he slumped dead as worms ate through his cane did the jinn stop work, unafraid of his reign. Only Allah knows the future, whereas fortune tellers guess it by using evil lying jinn. So believing in seances, astrology, horoscopes and tarot cards is a really big sin. Jinns don't often harm pious believers, but devils turn the depraved and shameless insane, especially gamblers, drunks, and the easily angered, as shaitan flows through the veins. Satan's main whisper is, believe in anything other than Allah, do whatever you want and sin. Iblis knows his time is running out, but proudly tries to drag degenerates into hell with him. Allah said He created men and jinn only for His worship, and we'll see the jinn on the last day. The good jinn will enter Jannah, while the evil ones like Satan will be dragged to hell straight away. Allah will judge both men and jinn on the last day. He chains up the Ifrit devils in Ramadan. Jinns are weak against pious believers, so trust and put your faith in Allah to avoid their harm.